Stop can't. Here
we
go. Good evening. Welcome to the Steel City Huddle podcast. I'm LeeAnn Lohman, joined by my partner, Zac Franciscus tonight. And we are here to do it'll be a shorter than our usual show, which runs about an hour, just to kind of preview the first game of the season, the week 1 game, Steelers at the Jets in East Rutherford, New Jersey. And exciting stuff because look, all of you, we said this on the show before, that think the NFL doesn't have a script. I mean, you've got Aaron Rodgers, revenge against his old team. You got Justin Fields with revenge against his old team. You got the defenses wanting to get after old quarterbacks. Zac talked about that last week, wanting to hit that guy and never being able to. So it's going to be interesting to see who comes out and look with no clear, outstanding quarterback, right? There's no quarterback that's like top 10 in the league in this game. It's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top. How are you doing, Zac?
I always temper my expectations because if there's anything I've learned, because I started watching football in 94. So don't take the NFL seriously till like week 4.
Yeah.
Anything on earth can happen, but you can certainly lose an entire season very quickly, like we all saw in that 49ers game. So it's going to either be a nice defensive fight or we're going to find out very quickly we're overmatched.
Yeah.
One of the two. Yeah. We're going to find out something.
And these are two really good defenses. We're going to talk about them in a minute, but these are two really good defenses. So I think that definitely, brings up that conversation about how much of a defensive struggle is this if neither of the offenses are firing on all cylinders. So look at some of the players that are missing the game this week, right? And looked at our depth chart, and refreshing to see that it's not like packed full of all kinds of injuries. Hard to hear that Derek Harmon will be out. I saw Nick Herbig was on there with the hamstring. Cam was doing his usual rest today. Zach Smith is here. Zac, I'm curious what your prediction is for Cam. If you think he's going to play on Sunday, play tomorrow, or if you think he'll sit out. Let us know what your thoughts are. So interesting. It'll be interesting to see. Who do you see, Zac, as the biggest matchup in this game?
I think it's turned very, very quickly into can a New York Jets offensive line that is down and out, Elijah Vera Tucker, do anything remotely close to protecting Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Because if they want Justin Fields to be effective, I think I forget who said it. It was either Slay or someone on our team said that the best way to beat Justin Fields is to make him play quarterback. And I love the backhanded little thing it was there. And the best way to do that is to make sure our outside pass guys consistently get to him.
Yeah.
I don't know if across the board this offensive line of the Jets can handle us anymore. They were gonna be relying on Tucker a great deal, and I don't mind it at all.
Yeah. So Zac says no DL was called up from the practice squad with Pierre, and that tells him what he needs to know about Cam. And I was going to mention that later, so I'm glad he said it. I think that is pretty indicative of there obviously not being a concern. So with Cam playing, I don't know. Look, however you fall on the side of the contract dispute, you certainly want to see our best defensive players be out there and not give any, the competition a leg up in that way. I thought the Jets had a much better shot at winning this game when Elijah Vera Tucker was playing. And now that he's not, I feel like that definitely, look, one player makes up your whole team, but that's a big loss for them. It's a really big loss. So talk about this quarterback situation for a minute. So we said, you got Aaron Rodgers going back to his old team. He was with the Jets for 2 years, really only played with them for 1. I mean, he was there, but, tore his Achilles on the fourth play of the week 1 game 2 years ago. And so didn't really play that season, played last year. They didn't do very well. The Steelers did a split season with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. And although we had that postseason disappointment, I think most fans felt like we had a better season than we anticipated having, especially with Russell being out to start the season. So interesting. We kind of ended on that weird sour note. So who do you think, which quarterback do you think is going in with more of a revenge mindset or like a need to prove themselves mindset? Do you think Justin feels like he needs to prove to the Steelers like they blew it on him? Do you think Aaron Rodgers needs to prove to the Jets that he could have really been that guy all along, and for whatever reason the rest of the team stunk or whatever and he couldn't do it?
I think Justin Fields is young. He's on yet another football team. And he is, I don't know if desperate is the right word, but he knows he has to prove something. I don't know if there's any other way to put it, but Aaron Rodgers doesn't have to prove shit. And that's how he feels about it. Last year and with the Jets, it was different. He went out there with an intent to prove people wrong, to do all the.
Yeah.
This time in Pittsburgh is different. He came here to relax. And no, that doesn't mean not to win, but it's a very different Aaron Rodgers. He's more laid back. It's a breath of fresh air. So he's going out here. It's week 1. He is down to this every chance he has got. So I think it means a lot to Justin Fields, and Aaron Rodgers is going to shrug it off and play football. And
you look at Justin Fields, he's got an opportunity to still have a career ahead of him. And I tried to think when we didn't bring him back this year, like how many quarterbacks have gone on to their third team and then done something really remarkable, right? That's not something that happens very often. So he's kind of fighting against history in this regard, fighting against what traditionally happens, and fighting against himself. He's kind of been typecast as this guy who's super athletic, but like you said, kind of can't play quarterback. And so I feel like definitely feels like he's got more to prove, right? He's got a whole career ahead of him. If Aaron Rodgers stinks this year in Pittsburgh, that's not ideal for him, but he wasn't great in the Jets last year. And I don't think anybody's expecting him to light the world on fire this year. I think we're hoping for something, and I think he's an ultimate competitor and wants to perform. I believe that, but I think I agree with you. I think it's a little bit different mindset. I mean, Justin Fields doesn't pull it together to some degree with the Jets where people see something from him. Why would anybody be willing to take another chance on him as a starter? And he's made it clear that he wants to start.
Now, if you're an interior defensive lineman for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I would get ready to get a lot of gimme sacks. And what that means is Justin Fields is going to get skittish early if the outside pressure gets to him. I can see it in my head right now, him dropping back, sensing TJ, and stepping right into Cam Hayward, and then stepping right into Yaya Black. And I would love that all day, because now with Tucker out, 4 or 5 sack game is not out of the way of reality right now for this team.
Yeah. Do you think that we'll see TJ move around at all tomorrow?
I want to. I don't know if we will. Mark Caboli, when I was listening to him, said it's going to matter on how much he feels it's going to work. He's like, TJ said he early in his career moved to the other side for a reason. He's not going to suddenly feel more comfortable on the other side, but I think if suddenly they switch over and the offense reacts so badly that TJ suddenly gets in and Alex Highsmith consistently gets around the other side, it's just another little weapon to have in your back pocket. It's not the main thing you'll use in the Swiss Army knife, but it's a toothpick you need.
Yeah. Smitty said that, back to Cam, that he's pretty sure that he was on the flight with the team. So I think all of this is stacking up for him to be there. I had a hard time imagining him not playing. He's just, I don't know, he just doesn't strike me as that kind of guy. Somebody also said his bold prediction for the game tomorrow, and I love this, see if this comes true. Keanu Benton has 2 career sacks. His prediction, he matches that tomorrow. That would be amazing. Like
interior lineman, it's gonna matter. I think the only reason Cam Hayward didn't come out like a couple days ago and said, I'm absolutely playing, this is the last ditch effort to get some money. This is the last. He literally is down to hours. And so I think until he steps out into that field and the Steelers are no longer negotiating, we're not going to hear a yes or no. And that it's all tactics. That's all it is. It's nothing but I agree. I can't see a reality where he wouldn't play. It's not just the defensive captain or all that, but Derek Harmon's hurt. In another reality where Derek Herman's not hurt, maybe Cam's like, you know what? I can sit for a second, prove my point to team. No, you can't do that anymore, Cap. We need you.
Yeah.
So it's important. Say all the we'll sees you want, but be on that field.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about this offense and some of these weapons. I mean, like you said earlier, definitely expect to see a heavy dose of DK Metcalf tomorrow. Who do you think will be an unlikely offensive hero tomorrow?
Unlikely, I think Scotty Miller. Scotty Miller is going to, because it's him, Roman Wilson, and Calvin Austin have to be the guys that give the slants across the middle a chance to happen, which will open up the deep passing game, which will open up the running game. It all really kind of relies on those quick guys, and from everything I've heard, that's not DK Metcalf's strong suit.
Right.
And so we need those other guys, but if it's not him, God, I hope it's Darnell Washington.
I know.
What I wouldn't give, because right now, I one of my fantasy teams, I drafted him with like one of my last picks. He's predicted like 0.7 points. No one is expecting anything out of him. So if that's not a dark horse to have a big game, I don't know what is. Just get us some red zones. The amount of red zone times I remember we had last season that just fizzled for no damn good reason. Darnell Washington changes that.
I'm really hoping that we see some action from Roman Wilson and see him really start off the year strong. Do you know what I mean? Make up for some of that lost time. Look, I get it. This is almost like his rookie season, being injured all of last year. So this is new for him. So I'm not trying to put too much pressure there, but I'd like to see him be successful, because I think a lot of people really wrote him off in this process about the wide receiver too. I really like Calvin Austin too. I always have. And so, I'm always kind of cheering for him in the wide receiver room to continue to have some success. I think it'll be interesting to see what Jonnu Smith does tomorrow, how involved Arthur Smith gets him. We see Arthur Smith go back to some of that, tight end stuff that he used to do very heavily in Tennessee. It'll be interesting to see. Smitty said Darnell only has better odds to score a touchdown than Rodgers rushing and Connor Hayward. I don't get it. If they get inside the 10, I think Rodgers going to back shoulder. It makes sense to me. I don't understand how you don't. This guy is 19 feet tall. Nobody can reach him. He doesn't even have to jump. Like, I don't understand why he's not more utilized in a variety of ways, but especially within the 10.
And Rodgers has talked openly since the second he got to camp about Darnell Washington. He likes talking about Darnell. Yeah. So I think when a veteran quarterback, from what I know about football, at least, when he gets into his head that there's a target he wants to make into a target, that's going to become a thing. Tom Brady was known for that, just deciding, okay, you're going to be my guy. And that was his guy for a bit. And Darnell Washington would make a great third security blanket on this team.
Yeah. So switching over to the defense for a minute, Zac said that TJ Flippen's size is talked about too much in his opinion. I think that's interesting. The big thing he wants to see is 3 edge sets with TJ rushing right over the center and Herbig and Highsmith outside the tackles. I'd like to just see something creative. That would be nice. Something different, something that's not so expected.
Exactly. The big thing that I think on the defensive side I'm looking forward to, last year we didn't have the cornerback depth to do a lot of things we wanted, and that put a lot of unfair pressure on our linebackers to cover in situations they probably shouldn't have been covering in. Now we can play a lot. I'm looking to see a lot more nickel on the field, to see all 3 of our cornerbacks on the field at the same time. And that way other teams aren't going to be able to either force our weak cornerback depth to tackle or force our linebackers to cover when they shouldn't have to. The amount of times I saw a linebacker in black and gold trailing someone in the other team, I'm like, well, that shouldn't have been on you. This will change that. I mean, Jalen Ramsey, Darius Slay, and Joey Porter, that's no slouches in that group right there.
Do you think that the communication issues that kind of plagued this defense last year, at the end of the season in particular, do you feel like those are resolved either via hard work or personnel changes? Do you think we'll see an improvement with that?
Oh, 100%. I think they got that out of the way in the first week of they established it in mini camp, and then when training camp hit, I think they squashed that, because I heard some stories early on in the offseason when players were getting together about how important it was for them to, communicate and how loud it was about that. And then you didn't hear anything about that. And to me, that means, okay, you figured it out. And to me, I think it was just addition by subtraction. Maybe there was just some players who didn't mesh with the scheme a certain way that were trying to do too much. As much as we love Minka, the not fitting into certain schemes that were supposed to happen may have to. I'm not saying he wasn't the one communicating, but it makes it more difficult when you're trying to force a square piece into a circle hole.
Yeah.
No matter how good that square piece is, it's a circle hole.
I told you all along. I said it last season. We talked about it that without pointing fingers, because it doesn't even matter. I felt like Minka was constantly being expected to step up and fill other people's roles or pick up the slack from other people, or things were falling apart. And he is such a diehard, gamer, so intense. He's so competitive. He wants this so badly that, you try to be everywhere at once and you just can't do everything. And it made other things fall apart. So I think, it'll be interesting to see. I think that we have a really good balance, I think, with some younger guys and some more veteran guys. And I hope that helps it flow a little bit more smoothly too, that this defense starts to get back to more of that like Steeler way kind of thing that looked like it had fallen apart at the end of last year. Zach said he agrees, which is why he thinks TJ just rushing from the other side doesn't do much. In his opinion, it's not like the team can't just shift their tight end and running back over to that side of the formation to help. I agree. Yeah, I think that's valid.
The number one thing I'm looking for is, and what I haven't seen for a couple years in Pittsburgh, I shouldn't know better than what's being called on that football field. I'm not paid to do what you're paid to do. I shouldn't know better, and that's both on defensive and offense. So just be creative, like you said earlier. Be creative.
The predictability, I felt like, look, and maybe it's easy to armchair quarterback or GM from your couch, right? Maybe that's easy to do, but it did feel like that. And we started hearing that from other teams. Now, my personal opinion is I think one team said that, and maybe they even thought that. And then all the other teams were like, ooh, that's a dig. We're going to say that too, because who can prove whether you thought we were predictable or not, right? You can't prove that. So I think some of that was mind games, but regardless, I still felt like things felt, especially on offense, very predictable. So who do you think is going to be our kind of surprise week one defensive player of the game?
I'm going to say Darius Slay, because out of those three cornerbacks, he's not lost in it, but people talk about a lot of other people before they talk about him. I think he's going to put himself in the right place at the right time to make something big happen. Whether it's to start it early and shut the crowd up, or to cement the game late. One of those two. I would like seriously.
Yeah. I think we're going to see Patrick Queen really step into that role that we thought he was going to be in last year, that kind of just, for whatever reason, wasn't coming together. I think he's a guy who has a chip on his shoulder and really wants to prove himself, especially after living in Roquan Smith's shadow for so long in Baltimore. And so I think he's going to really come into this year wanting to prove his worth, prove his value, not hear that we overpaid this guy a whole bunch. And so I'm kind of hoping we see really good stuff from him right off the bat. Zach also said Jalen Ramsey gets his first sack as a Steeler before turnover. The slot bit blitz is back. Love that.
It did. I think it was Jalen Ramsey or Patrick Queen that said that they want to bring Blitzburg back. And I've missed that. I mean, I grew up on Blitzburg. I will take that all day. I know we're running short on time, but really quick on the offensive line, I think it's an interesting set of pressure that's on each of the tackles. Fatanu, he's earned my trust, but that's a lot of pressure to put on someone that's technically still playing his rookie year. But Broderick has to earn everything. He's under a microscope from the moment he gets on there. Every little mistake is going to be magnified, and I hope mentally he's ready for that after the game. Even if he has a good game, people are still going to pick it apart, including myself. So I just hope he has a thick skin and ready for it.
It's the unfortunate part of what happens when you struggle like he did, and it doesn't really matter why, right? So then people are going to stare at you extra hard, and he's got to be prepared for that. And like you said, be able to handle that, because it would be unreasonable to expect him to be perfect, right? that's pretty unusual. So, just to expect to see him take like a serious step forward. Well, we did our predictions on this show on Tuesday night. You were 19-10 Steelers. I was 21-13 Steelers. I have some fan scores or some listener scores too. So if you're catching this show afterwards or during the show, drop us a note on Twitter, on YouTube in the comments. Let us know what your score prediction is. We'll have them for you Tuesday night, see who came the closest. We appreciate you guys tuning in for a little quick preview show, and we will be back to break the game down, hopefully with big smiles on our faces Tuesday night.
LeeAnn and Zac would like to thank you for tuning in to the Steel City Huddle podcast. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss a thing.